Hey there everyone, welcome to Tales in Text and I'm your host Nisha and welcome to another episode where I talk about oracle cards. And so for today's video we have the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck, which is one of my favorite decks to explore, especially when we're looking at journaling. And so be sure to grab your journal. I have my journal over here, which is let me just pull it up a little bit. Yep, there you go. The Neora journal, which is a 100% vegan leather hardbound journal, which is really thick 100 GSM paper. Comes in 4 different rulings, 12 different colors and multiple sizes, and it's just really of high quality. So I've got this with me. I'm gonna start working in this journal, and if you would like to purchase Neora journals, then you can avail of a 5% discount by using the code NISHA5 or making your purchases through the reference link that I will have put down in the description box, so you can check that out as well. So get your journal and a pen or a pencil, and let's just get started. So the card I have already pre-chosen for this month is this Thanatos. So let's just take a little bit of a closer look here. Now, Thanatos is the Greek personification of death and oblivion. Thanatos is death itself. Thanatos represents an ending. Thanatos is different from Hades, who only governs the underworld but is never considered as death. You could think of death as the Grim Reaper. You could think of that is Thanatos as the Grim Reaper. You could think of Thanatos as Yama, the god of death in Hinduism. And more than death, I think the concept of going into oblivion, ceasing to matter, ceasing to exist, feels like a very scary concept. Because death by itself doesn't necessarily mean an ending, but with Thanatos, it is a definite ending, because whatever it is goes into oblivion. That is, it ceases to exist. It's as if it's never been there. Although it might have left a mark on your memory, on your feelings, but it no longer is there. Thanatos is the son of Nyx, the goddess of night. And Thanatos is the brother of Hypnos, the god of sleep. Just looking at this card, the imagery on this card can give us a sense of what Thanatos feels like. First off, right at the center, you have what appears to look like a person, and there are hands that are clutching, hands that have let go, and the expression on the person's face is that of fear, grief, despair. There's around them this spider web, which to me represents an interconnected nest of life, of life's connectedness to death, of death's connectedness to the beyond. And yet there's some sort of claustrophobic feeling when you look at this card. And because that's exactly what Thanatos feels like. Something has come to an end, something has come to a finish. This has been the entire course or scope of this thing's existence. And now it is time to move on. You might not be ready to let go yet, but let go you must. Because whatever this was, whatever came to an end, it served its purpose. And unlike, for example, when you take the tarot card of death, which is the major arcana card. We often talk of that as transformation. It is seldom a card that indicates a pause between the ending and the new beginning. Death as a transformation talks of a continuum, the continuation between life and between what once was and what will be, how what once was transforms into what it has become. There's no pause. But with Thanatos, because of how Thanatos represents the oblivion that is completely going out of existence between what was and whatever's in the future, this has come to a complete dead end. There's this pause. And it is at that moment that you feel the sense of despair. You've been holding on. You've received what you must, but now it's time to let go. And while it feels like a part of you has died because of this letting go, as in the death of a spirit, the death of a mindset, the death of a physical habit, there can be a vacuum. There can be this loss, this deep hole that needs to be filled, but the time hasn't come to fill it yet. Thanatos, to me, represents the act of experiencing this loss, whatever this loss is, very deeply. We must come to terms with this unanticipated, because often endings are unanticipated, right? It's very rare that we consciously manifest an ending. Humans are, after all, creatures of habit, and it's very rare that we actively seek to put things to an end. Sometimes something triggers the ending or the start of the end, and then we just see it through. For me, Thanatos represents becoming comfortable with this unanticipated ending, this unanticipated space in our lives, which seems hollow and which reeks of loss, but is in fact an opening for something different. And we just don't see this loss as an opening or an anticipation or a welcoming for something new. And it's just this air is just pregnant with the feeling of coming undone, of being confused, of not knowing where to go next. But allow yourself to feel that pain. Allow yourself to feel what once was. Because everything said and done, in the tarot community, we always say, when death comes, that is the death card. Be happy. It's something that's completely new. It's something that's going to bring you positive changes, or something that a breath of fresh air. Welcome it. We don't give ourselves the time to mourn what was, to mourn what all battles we fought, or where all we've been to reach the stage that we are today. And that's a pity, because you have fought a battle either with yourself or with your family, with your society, with your belief system, to get from where you once were to where you are right now. And so it's okay to mourn what you lost, because when you mourn the loss of something, you get closure. And with this closure will come the courage and the inclination to pursue what will come in the future. So now that we have spoken about this, let's just explore a couple of ways that we can journal about Thanatos. Is there a part of you, personal, professional, spiritual, physical, emotional, relationship-wise, that desperately needs to come to an end, or which is reaching its finality? Has something in your life pushed you to a point where you as a person, have been forced into oblivion? Your identity, your beliefs, your personality has been subdued to such an extent that you don't recognize who you are, The real you, who you grew up knowing so intimately and loving, no longer exists. And should you change the situation? Is this new you something that you like? Have you been given the chance to mourn the loss of the old you and to embrace the welcoming of the new you? To me, the relationship between Thanatos, Nyx, and Hypnos talks a lot of the underlying archetypes of this particular energy. If we consider Nyx as the goddess of night and Hypnos as the god of sleep, and we consider Thanatos' role as death and oblivion, we must ask ourselves, have we kept a part of ourselves dormant and asleep under the covers for a long time? Are we preventing a part of ourselves from emerging, from fruiting, from nurturing, from growing and thriving? Why have we hidden this part of ourselves? Was it out of force, out of necessity? Were we unaware of this quality, this trait, this skill that could have led to something different? Have we been oblivious to the potential for growth within us because we are so happy and satisfied with the comfort of stagnation? Because sometimes that happens. Have we become oblivious to the growth that we can achieve because we are just comfortable where we are? We've called it a night on our dreams and ambitions and put our potential to sleep, essentially transforming who we are and who we can be, or rather pushing who we are and who we can be into oblivion, into death. When I was journaling about Thanatos, these messages kept coming for me, and I just felt a profound sense of loss for certain parts of myself, because this card has been very, very hard hitting personally for me at this time in my life. And usually I don't use cards that I pull for myself for my journal prompts, because I don't want to kind of mix my personal readings, my personal energies with what I'm sending out into the community. But I felt this deep, deep call from the universe, from spirit, from God, from nature, to talk about this card, because with the world, with whatever is happening, things are in flux right now. Lots of layoffs around the world. One pandemic ending, another possibly beginning. I hope not, touch wood. There's this profound sense of Thanatos energy over here. And so I needed to share this message so that if in case it helps someone to come to terms with their Thanatos experience, I hope it does help them. A couple of things about Thanatos that I learned was Thanatos is often depicted in popular culture as holding a butterfly or holding poppies. Again, butterfly is almost a global cultural symbol of transformation. Poppies in many cultures represent sleep, because poppies as an ingredient cause people to fall asleep. Sleep inducing. When I think of the butterfly, I ask myself, is Thanatos holding the butterfly an indication of allowing themselves to transform and fly off to a new branch or to a new space in life? Or is Thanatos holding the butterfly a representation of holding back who we can be, trapping that potential transformation in our hands and crushing it? Poppies and sleep remind me to pay attention to my dreams, and I would urge you to pay attention to your dreams as well. Keeping a dream journal does really help. Not only does it help boost your memory because you're trying to actively remember what you dreamt, but you can recognize patterns through your dreams. And not just in a spiritual sense, but you can find out if there is any thought process or some idea or some belief that is bugging you for days, that might be causing undue stress and anxiety in your waking moments. So keeping a dream journal is not just a great way to connect with your spirits or connect with your ancestors and get these spiritual messages, but it's also really helpful because it's very therapeutic. It helps you identify potential stresses that are affecting you in your waking moments. So I would say when we're working with Thanatos energy, do maintain a sleep journal or a dream journal. That really does help. Now let's go into some of the journal prompts. First, does Thanatos hold any meaning for you? Apart from everything that we've discussed, what else does Thanatos hold in meaning for you? Is your life experiencing death or an ending of some kind? That's the second prompt. Consider every area of your life. Is there some sort of ending that is happening or an ending that should happen but which you're preventing either consciously or unconsciously? Consider that. 3. How does the ending or the idea of an ending make you feel? While some endings might be very welcome, others for the most part aren't, and that's okay. But how does it make you feel? Try to go as in depth as you can when you're journaling about this, because this can be a great way for you to kind of dissect your emotions and find out how best to work through any current or potential changes that might come into your life. And as you're describing this ending, ask yourself, what part of you should you lay to rest right now? Is there a part of you that you think has served you well so far, but it isn't serving you well anymore, and which you should lay to rest right now? Similarly, on the flip side, what part of you must you awaken from the night sleep? What part or what slumbering part of your soul, of your skills, of your beliefs should you awaken, bring to light and bring to fruition? How can you nurture this part of yourself? What kind of upskilling can you do? What kind of exposure and experience can you give it? What kind of encouragement can you provide it so that it can thrive? And if there's a part of you that feels like, I'm not ready for this ending, whatever this ending is, ask yourself, what is stopping you from welcoming Thanatos into your life? What kind of loss would you experience? Some losses are, they never can be plugged in. And that's something we do need to acknowledge. And which is why I stressed even in the earlier part of this video about the need to allow yourself time to mourn. Mourn the ending, mourn the loss. And some losses just cannot be plugged in. But how can you move past it? How can you use this sorrow, this loneliness, this fear, this feeling of being vulnerable to find a new path for yourself? And if it's a loss that can be plugged in, that can be made up, why are you hesitating to invite Thanatos in? Why are you resisting Thanatos? Why aren't you aiding Thanatos? And then you can journal about how you can aid Thanatos, how you can bring the ending, manifest the oblivion. Because like I said, some losses can be plugged in, and in that case, those losses are opportunities. They might not feel that way now, and that's okay. But for that new thing to come, whatever is, must finish. And if you have already been maintaining dream journals or spirit journals, or you do ancestral work, try to go back and check if you had any significant dreams or you notice certain signs that indicates the coming about of Thanatos or Thanatos in progress. For me personally, I had quite a few signs that Thanatos was already in progress, even before, weeks before I pulled this card. It's very easy for us to ignore these signs, even those of us who feel more spiritually connected or feel more spiritually attuned to the world around us, to our ancestral spirits, to our deities, to our religion, to nature. We might miss these signs if we don't pay attention. And for some time, I had actually not recognized these signs. And when I did, it just became all too apparent that I was in the Thanatos energy. Finally, let's acknowledge that sometimes, even after the passing of a certain period of time, once Thanatos is done and dusted, it's over, the energy has passed, and after you've mourned for some time, after you've paused for some time, after you've rested for some time, rest is essential. How can you rest? Just think about that. How can you rest and recover? And just jot down a couple of things that you can do to revitalize yourself, body, mind, and spirit. And now, once you've done that, what are you excited about doing? What do you anticipate doing? What do you look forward to? And looking forward to and being excited to try something new, try something different, even when you feel upset about whatever has ended, that's completely fine. That's completely normal. That's completely okay. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make you insensitive. It just makes you human, and you're allowed to feel all of these emotions and more. So what are you excited to try? What do you want to do? And how do you intend to use your experience with Thanatos to move ahead? This is some of the journaling prompts that I had for Thanatos. I hope you can find some value with these prompts. You don't have to necessarily write them if you are not big on writing. You can record yourself talking about Thanatos and your experiences on your voice memo app on your phone. You can even record yourself doing a video. Just set it on private so that you don't accidentally share it on public. So if you're watching this, you have a YouTube account, and you can create YouTube videos. Just set the visibility on private, and you can just make a video vlog of it. And if you want to write, the sky's the limit. And like I mentioned, you can purchase Neora journals for 5% discount using the code NISHA5. This is an A5 size journal, and there is also an A6 size journal, plus there is B5, B6 and A4 as well, plus a petite travel size journal as well. So all of these can be got at 5% discount. The link is down in the description, so take a look. And if you've been with me so far, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode of Tales and Texts. Bye.